What kind of money are people making that are here on page one with us? A bluey coloring book making 27,000 a month is not unusual. A big book of coloring animals for children, $26,000 a month. Mermaid coloring book, $15,000 a month. Okay, welcome everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is April Cox. I am the founder of Little Labradoodle Publishing. I'm also an author, just like you, and have created a system called Self-Publishing Made Simple, which really takes all of the knowledge and things that I've learned over the past 7+ years, helping more than 1,500 authors to publish their books, and puts it into a program and a framework that helps others like you to be able to move forward and to get their book published in 90 days. This is our Marketing Monday, which is a regular occurrence for our mastermind members who have been through different programs with me. And we get together every Monday. I also open it up for the public that wants to join us. Today, we are going to explore whether coloring pages can truly be profitable, whether you should do them, whether you should sell them, how to do them, and I'm going to be here to answer your questions. So right now I'm just going into children's coloring books. Now, if you've got a specific age range, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, whatever you're looking for, going into Amazon and taking a look at the volume. So there's 60,000 results, right? There's a lot of things going on with children's books, coloring books. So you can see a lot of people are running ads to these coloring books here. And if I look at KD Spy for this particular keyword, just to see what kind of money are people making that are here on page one with us, one of the things I always do whenever I'm considering creating a book is do the market research on it. And I recommend that you do the same. This tool, KD Spy, is one that I use quite often when I'm doing my market research. I'm going to come here, sort it by average monthly revenue. So obviously there are some that stand out because they are popular movies and cartoons like Bluey. A bluey coloring book making 27,000 a month is not unusual. A big book of coloring animals for children, $26,000 a month. Mermaid coloring book, $15,000 a month. Unicorn, Mermaid, and Princess, cute, fun coloring book, 13,000. So if I look at the sheer volume of those that are making over $1,000, actually every single one on this front page is making more than $1,000. I can pull more results in. As I'm looking at this, if I was doing something for a children's book in ages 4 to 8, and I'm really just trying to make passive income, I would be taking a look at the ones that are doing really well. Things like, number one, what are the topics that are really selling well? What are they doing well? So, for example, let's go to Big Book of Coloring Animals. Let's just take a look. So, I would be looking at what they're doing well. This is number one bestseller in children's fox and wolf books, but we already know it's making more than $15,000 a month as a coloring book. So, what is special about this book? And it looks like there's a series of big books of coloring with different topics. This is animal topics. This is kind of fairy creatures or mythical creatures. And it shows the ones that are frequently bought together and what people are really enjoying. Let's look at the A plus content on this. 50, so there's only 50 pages, hand-drawn creative images, ideal for children. Now, I don't know if hand-drawn makes a difference to somebody. If they're thinking, oh, I don't want a bunch of AI generated images, I want something hand-drawn. Maybe that distinguishes this book. Not sure about that, but it talks about the age group, single-sided images so that there's no bleed through. So this is probably just print on demand. It's not, some thick pages that are going to allow you to use markers. Creative screen-free fun. So you can see the kinds of things that they show here. So it's got on one side a little bit of a description about what's here, but not anything that's so amazing that, would make me wonder Oh, wow, could I really compete with something like this? So let's just go look a little bit into the reviews here. Great for kids who love all animals. Got these for my two nieces and they absolutely loved them. They enjoyed coloring all the animals as we read about each animal. So the one thing that this was differentiated a little bit is it had a little bit of information about the animal on the left side with the coloring image on the right side. And it also has things where you can actually view the video and see what some of the interior looks like. This is a must buy, worth it. 60 mini pages at the front to cover, so many different habitats and cool facts. So I'm thinking the cool facts about the animals is something that is appealing. If I was going to try to compete with this book, I would probably buy one or, 10 so that I could get a good sense of what's selling really well. It truly is a big book filled with every animal imaginable, reviewed in the United Kingdom. I bought this for my 2-year-old granddaughter, nice big photos. So you want to look for things that really are differentiator. What are people loving about it? What are people saying could be better? Maybe some of these 3-star incorrect facts, otherwise lovely. So let's make sure if you're going to name some fact that they're not incorrect fact, but lovely, clear illustrations. I think we can easily say that there are some that are out here doing print on demand that are using coloring books as a way to make passive income. 30,000, 15,000, more than 20 on the first page were well over $1,000 a month. So to me, that says if you are looking for profitability or to expand your brand, then this is something that you might want to consider for yourself. Over here, we've got some of them are $9.99, some of them are $5.95. So it's not that they're not going to get any royalties, but the royalties will be lower based on the lower price. Perhaps they're playing around with the different adjustments here for their books because you can see that they do have one at $9.99, and maybe that's one that sells a lot. And they're still probably playing around to see which ones might be worth adjusting and whether it's going to cut into their sales. What do they say? 60% of a grape is not nearly as good as 60% of a watermelon. So if you are selling a lot at a lower price, you're able to get more profit, 1,000 of these a month versus, 100 of these at $9.99, I'm sure is going to be way more profitable to do the lower price, but you have to play around a little bit with it. And I think that part of the analysis of what we're doing with coloring books and activity books is really to go and see what are people buying, what is going to make a difference in what are the buyers raving about or complaining about. If you've got one that's selling really well, like this, or like this big book of animals, it seems like that's their number one bestseller, the big book of animals. Now, if I looked at this, to be honest with you, I'm not impressed with the cover. I would have been more impressed with this one, but yet it's selling like crazy. So they're doing something right. And we want to make sure that we understand the market enough to be able to make good decisions and to be able to compete as well. I would be saving book covers. I would be saving information about reviews. There's a review analyzer. If you have KD Spy, one of the other things that KD Spy has as a part of their tool is called KD ROI. So when you get one, you get them both. It usually is a bonus that comes along with it. And it has in there where you can actually point it to a book and it will analyze all of the reviews and give you a sense of what's working, what's not. And you can actually download somebody else's reviews or your own reviews. And you can throw that into AI and ask for some analysis that you can then make actionable. So I can certainly go into that and show how that works if you guys want me to, but it is definitely, you can also do the same with your own reviews, just digging in yourself as well. There is an opportunity to manually take a look at these things. So the size of the book, I would assume it's 8.5 by 11, but let's just verify that. Yep, 8.5 by 11. That's the most common size for activity and coloring books. And it's not too expensive to produce. I think they're just a few dollars a piece. So as you're working through this, and if you end up with selling over 1,000 a month or whatever, then I would absolutely be looking at doing it, offset printing some of these and driving the costs way down. But it's a good way of having a passive income if you can break into the formula that some of these are using. And we've already seen some of that. They're using coloring with OUR. That's one of the things we'll want because some people actually spell it that way if you're outside the US. So I don't know whether I just see that as something a little bit different. We can look at the way that they're describing the book. Is there anything there that jumps out at you? Take a look at A plus content, take a look at pricing, and we can also see that their pricing was $10.99 and Amazon has reduced it to $6.99. So this is something that when Amazon sees pricing going well, they do discount it and take a hit on their end and pay the author the same price. So some of these are discounted. So the author didn't provide it at $6.99. The author did $10.99. So it's just a little something you want to take a look at when you're doing your analysis as well. And if you want to, you can click in read a sample, and that will give you an opportunity to look at what is inside. So we can see go to images to color. So they show must be what they were talking about, the little mini images that are available. And then we see here, woodlands are outdoor areas filled with many different types of trees and shrubs. So there's a little bit of a learning activity. Red panda. So it's got a red panda. It's a nice image, not, knocking my socks off or anything, but it's got a little fun fact. So you can see a little bit and give yourself a little bit more opportunity to just compare and learn by clicking on the sample as well. If you see brands like this that are advertising and doing well, then I would dig into those brands as well. Bluey is Bluey. He's going to do well no matter what. But we've got some big book of coloring, big book of coloring. So this brand is starting to really build and making, pretty decent returns. Here's I Love Ocean Animals, nice image, not anything that we couldn't do. Coloring book for boys with awesome art. So, of course, we haven't touched on the fact that as children's book authors, we have our own books that we sell and usually do companion coloring and activity books based on the other particular book that we're selling. That isn't going to have as broad appeal unless our book really takes off and we let people know that there's that cross promotion of the activity book. So that's a slightly different use case that I'll talk about in a few minutes. And let me come here and say activity books for kids ages 4 to 8. And let's see fun activities, big summer coloring book. So activity book and sometimes is interchangeable for coloring books. So they use them in their keywords. But something like this, over 100 things to do, coloring or activity book, are also in here. Awesome mazes and puzzles. So you can see jumbo hidden picture books. So again, if I search here and then click on my KD Spy guy, so you can see here it shows the average monthly revenue for these books that are on page 1. When we search for activity books for kids ages 4 to 8, the average monthly revenue is $27,000, almost $28,000. This is per month. And the average price of the books on page 1 is $7.80. The average number of reviews. So you can see having a lot of reviews is important when you're selling in this competitive market, but you got to start somewhere. So these are highly reviewed. It shows the average sales rank of these books as well. And you also have these different columns here. So the price, the estimated monthly sales, estimated monthly revenue. So $25,000 worth of sales for my first Learn to Write workbook. Now, how many teachers do we have out there right now that could easily do monthly revenue of $134,000 a month? That is just crazy. Ultimate Puzzle Challenge, 105,000 per month. Silliest Hidden Pictures, 90,000 a month. Look at all of the work. Now, this tool can easily just export all of the information here into a list that you can analyze and review later. You can also pull more results. It gives you the first 20, but you can pull more to go deeper, as many as you want. But yes, the competition is red because this is a very competitive category. Activity books for kids ages 4 to 8. I would say potential, yes, but you're going to definitely want to work through some things, understand what kinds of things are selling, and where is there potentially a market that you can get into. Fun activity book. This is selling thousands of dollars worth per month, and yet it's a very simple book. It takes time to get indexed for them. It takes time to create the book. And you can also have coloring and activities into a picture book like this. Many of you are already very well versed with Canva and creating things in Canva. There are also tools that can help you generate things like word search puzzles or the crossword puzzles, things like that, that you can add in, and even mazes. So there are ways that you can expedite that, or you can create those things yourself. But look at the different market and see what's selling, what's the pricing. And again, make sure that you really understand just because it says bestseller does not mean that it is selling better than all of these with regard to activity books. Sometimes, if you look over this, this is a bestseller in children's fashion books. Now, this is not a fashion book. So just, take a look at what are they bestseller in. Sometimes people put themselves into a category because they know they want to hit bestseller and it's easier to rank. Make sure that you're considering the ones that are actually doing really well, not just showing a bestseller for a category that doesn't really apply to them. So the minimum number of pages from KDP's point of view, I think is 26. It's either 24 or 26. But I would say, 32 is probably minimum. But you can also take a look at the ones that you are working with. This is over 321 fun activities. So this is probably a huge book. But look at the ones that you think are in the niche that you want to target. And I would be looking at comparing how many pages do they have? What are they pricing it at? What kinds of activities do they provide? Because remember, an ultimate puzzle challenge, a highlights thing, it's going to get consumed. And then kids that love those things, parents are going to be looking for more, right? Same thing with word searches and crossword puzzles. I've also found these to be very popular with the old folks like me who love to just keep our brains going and want to make sure that we have an opportunity to just pass the time. One person would come and buy 50 of my coloring books at a time and then reorder every few months. And I was like, what are you doing with these coloring books? And she was actually sharing them at the nursing home where her mom was and just giving them to the nursing home. And they loved them so that she just kept buying more. So, coloring books, activity books, crossword puzzles, those kind of things are good for more than just kids. If you want to enhance and go look at that market and what's working really well for them, then that's an opportunity as well. These kind of videos to help your ad stand out could be really helpful to differentiate your book among the others that are out here. And take note of the ones that are running ads as well. Here's the one that was my first Learn to Write workbook. This is the one that was selling $50,000 a month worth of activity books. And yes, we're in summer, so maybe that's partially, the ebbs and flows that happen with kids on summer and parents wanting to make sure that they're practicing or preparing to go into preschool potentially, but they're listing it at $8.99 and it's on sale for $5.26. So these kinds of things are great. Let's go take a quick deep dive into this huge selling opportunity here. They've loaded up some interior images so you could see, which I love. I love that they're doing that. They also have a brand, right? They have other ones that are similar or people trying to knock off what they're doing. Help kids ages 3 to 5 build reading and writing skills, make it fun. So they've got, control, hand control and these things, which my little Kyrie loved when she was in preschool and learning how to make their letters. Also, if you've got people that are raving about it, then go take a look at some of the videos and see what they're raving about and grab it. I mean, I would be grabbing it if this was something that I wanted to do for myself. I want to see like have nice thick paper. Is the quality something that is more than just print on demand? And I need to be aware of that. Maybe I'm not ready to do something that's, you know, offset print quality, but there are certainly things we can learn from the content as well. Look at this, great for people who have had strokes. Never in a million years would have thought of that, but it's very true, right? They're practicing their letters. So, wow. Now, I bet not many people have an activity book for adults who have had strokes that's similar to this. What a great niche to think about, right? So, there's lots of ways that we can figure out opportunities here. I'll do my puppy pickup day book. This is my first book. And what I did as a children's book author is I decided, okay, I'm going to have a children's book, but I'm also going to focus on having an activity book that kind of a companion activity book that goes with it. I did add A plus content here, and it has images. It shows some of the things that this book is about. But then I also say I've got a companion coloring book. So I'm highlighting in here that there's a companion coloring and activity book. And what I did with this, some people work with their illustrators to say, hey, can you make sure you put aside the sketches and then in the end, let's go back and let's finalize them so that they turn into coloring pages. Or they just create the coloring pages themselves. I've seen people charge anywhere from $40 to $10, right? Down in that range to do just a single coloring page. I have a number of coloring books. This is the adult one that they were using at the local nursing home, but also have this kids version of it with other activities inside besides just coloring. And every single one of my books does have this activity book part of it. And I often have people say, is it really worth it? Does it sell a lot? And I will tell you, in my experience, it doesn't sell a lot, but I'm also not driving people to buy and focusing on my list of growing brand of these coloring books either. My focus has been really working with authors. So I have seen people focus on coloring and activity books and do really well because that's where their focus is and they're marketing them specifically. But even if it doesn't sell a ton of books, one of the things that I do with my activity books is I offer them as lead magnets so that when somebody gets a copy of my book and they go to the end, I say, here's a gift for you. You can go download the printable version of the activity book that goes along with this. So people think I'm crazy. I send them the whole thing in PDF, not a print copy. I send them the whole PDF. All they have to do is go to the back of the book, sign up, and they're on my mailing list. So now I get to reach out to them about other books I'm writing, other things I'm doing. They get a very high value coloring book. And many of the times they come back to me and say, can I just get a print copy of this? Because I keep printing out, printing out, printing out. And the kids just want their own versions of these and we want to take them with us. So they will order copies of the coloring book because they love it, or they will just print their favorites over and over again. So it's win-win. And they end up really loving the brand because I offer a lot of value. So offering a lot of value can help you build up your mailing list very quickly. So this is just one of the ways that I do use that and my other coloring books as well to grow my audience. I wouldn't have a whole lot of additional things when I first started if it wasn't for the coloring books. I actually created this one to attract my Labradoodle lovers, right? I had tons of Facebook groups that I was in, and they were just people that absolutely loved dogs and they loved Labradoodles. And so I got them to submit a bunch of pictures of their Labradoodles in weird costumes, doing weird things. And then I created a book out of it. So it was my very first lead magnet before the book ever came out. So it was a great way of getting a bunch of people that are fanatical about Labradoodles onto my mailing list. And many of them are still with me after 7 years. And each book that's released, they absolutely love. So many of you are using Canva already for things like social media, social posts. And I wanted to show a few different ways that you can start to play around with activity books. So when you open Canva, there is a free version and then there is a paid version, which I think is what, $20 a month? If anybody knows, feel free to shout it out. Let me go to templates, activity pages. So isn't that cute? So these are all things you could use, you can build on. Look at this. Letter of the week activities, N, and look at this. You can use these, drop it in. Now, I know if there's inconsistencies, maybe you're using big, thick lines on one, small lines on another. It's going to look like it's not very cohesive, right? So you want to watch out for that, but you can get some really great ideas and you can use these things. Let's just do this. We got letters of alphabet activity pages. So I can say customize this template. Now, these are templates that come with Canva. If you are on the paid version, then you're going to have more templates, and you'll also have the ability to add more bits of things like elements and different things that you have in here. So let's just say stars. So when you click on some of the different elements, if I want this star, there's like this little crown there. That means you have to be a paid member to get it, which I am. So if I wanted to do something with this star and use it, I can use it. If you have a free account, you can only use the ones that don't have the little crowns marked on them. The other thing about it is if you're using graphics that comes with Canva, which there are a lot of them, if we go to design, birthday, maybe you want one of these cupcakes on your thing here. If I put them in here, now these are Canva images. If you are using a premium version and you modify it just a bit, like change, don't leave it exactly the way it is, but change it for your own needs. The word is you can use them and sell them and make it your own and create books and sell and not have to worry about commercial rights. So you can create all kinds of cool things. I would make sure that the fonts don't change from one to another. If you like something here, like the Halloween thing, oh, that's a great idea. Maybe make sure that the fonts are consistent with the other Halloween activities you put in. And remember, people leading up to Valentine's Day, Halloween, Christmas, they're looking for Christmas activity books for different things, Easter, things like that. So it's another opportunity to potentially capture some of the ups and downs of the market when parents are looking for more books for their kids. And that's a time when they're also purchasing multiples usually. I'm usually purchasing a few at a time or different ones. And then I figure out which one I'm going to gift to which child based on, the level or what I see inside of the book. Let's just take this end page. When I click on this and I highlight it, it's going to allow me to change, let me just go to kids fonts or look up whatever font results I have here. So I can decide I want it to look like that. Canva
Yeah.
makes it really simple. And if you
Yeah.
want to swap out a different page, or I don't like this black around it, so maybe I would do something that would extend it and get rid
Oh,
of the black. So you
yeah.
can move things the way you want. And I've actually created my first lead magnet right within Canva. And I was going to show that to you, but it has all of the coloring pages that were created for me. I dragged right in one after another, and then printed to PDF right? So here you can say download, and instead of a PNG that's just going to grab a nice picture of this, you can come here and do PDF print, not just standard, but print. And when you do that, now it's going to go and give you a PDF. And for color profile, I mean, this doesn't matter so much because these are black and white, but if you're downloading something that's got color in it, then CMYK is what you want to use for printing, and then download, and you'll be able to upload it right into Amazon KDP as an interior. So it's really cool to be able to have these things. Now, one of the things that I do with my picture books and activity books is I have them take every single page of my book that's not, a two-page spread and turn it into a coloring page. And it always drove me nuts that in order to get a coloring page of my images, I actually had to have somebody else go in and trace the outside of the coloring. This is how they create these coloring pages. They will trace it outside and fill in some details and create a coloring page. Now, I could do that with the illustrator, or I could do that with, there's a design team that I work with, Praise Safler and her group. They usually charge between $15 and $20 per page. My most recent picture book here, this is a little Labradoodle Christmas. So I said, oh, let's just go and create activity pages for all of them. Like we got these gorgeous pictures. Let me just go and create coloring pages for all of them. So the team went in and they created they took all the illustrations, made a coloring book, and then they formatted it, and it cost me almost $1,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. I already paid for, all these things. But we added it up like, yeah, this many pages, this much activity pages in between. Plus, it was only like $150 to take the design and turn it into a finished book. But I was like, there's got to be a better way. So I've been hunting and hunting, and I'll be damned, I found it for you guys. So so I am gonna share this tool, and I actually already signed up to be an affiliate because I was like so blown away by this tool. It's called Coloring Book AI. For the price of like 20 something a month, instead of $900 that it cost me to put my activity book together. I'm just going to go there for a second. Coloringbook.ai. So this is what it looks like. It's an AI coloring pages generator. So you can take something like an image and you can actually turn it into a coloring page. So that's really a lot of fun for your kids. Now, I had a lot of tools like this that would kind of turn things in and it was okay. But then I started saying, well, I want to upload an illustration. Oh, by the way, it's free to get started. No credit card to sign up. So there's no reason why you shouldn't play around with it. You can also take images from anywhere and turn it into coloring page. So I was like, what if I took things from my book? A lot of the AI I would upload like to ChatGPT and I'd say, give me a coloring page based on this. And it would give me something similar, but not exact. It would be like a couple of Labradoodles sitting there playing, and they would be in the position, but they're not really my Labradoodles. They're not my illustrations. So if you're doing general things, AI can generate some really cool images for you, just going to ChatGPT and asking it or DALL-E or one of those image generation to create a beautiful mermaid doing this or that, and then it will generate it for you and it will make it pretty and you could use it as a coloring page. But again, it's not commercial. You can't use it in your commercial stuff. It's only for personal use. So now I'm on the hunt and I find this, and let me show you what I was able to do. Welcome to my little Labradoodles. This is the cover of my Little Sister for Brady book. I uploaded the image. Here is the title and the cover of one of my other author's books called Hero Saves the Day. I just uploaded the cover. I wanted to see would it be able to do what I wanted it to do, and it did. So let me see. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. So see, this is the image it started with. This is what it came up with. This is the image it started with. This is what it came up with. And you can download it as a PDF. Like if you use this to create a bunch of images, you can download it as a PDF and use it. If you are, it's just like Canva. If you're just doing the free version, you're not going to have the full version for commercial license. But I upgraded to the 20 something, and after a month, if I'm done with my activity book, I might pause it. But I wanted to play around with this. I took another one of my authors, Cactus Cover, Cactus Cuties coloring page. I took this, Dragons and Dinosaurs, and I wanted to see what that would look like as a coloring page. And I thought it looked nice. By the way, it also has text to coloring pages and coloring book generator where you can create a topic. I wanted to play around with this. So I just said dinosaurs, give me so many pages about a dinosaur, and it auto creates a bunch of stuff that you can then use. If you're saying, hey, I want a dinosaur themed coloring book, you can create the whole full coloring book if all you're doing is just giving it an idea, and it even generates a cover for you. Now, I'm not loving the cover, but it's not terrible. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. So it does all of that for you. It's also loaded with tons of free coloring pages. It's made for families. If you want coloring pages for kids and you click on this underneath the free coloring pages, it will make thicker lines. If you want coloring pages for adults, it'll make thinner lines. And you can pick from all kinds of free things under here that you might want to use. So depending on what you're doing, if you're generating some Disney something or other, like Paw Patrol, I would definitely not use something like that on my own. Otherwise, you could be in trouble. Then you've got these text to coloring page. So you can just talk about what you want, like a beautiful fairy princess in a garden with flowers. And then it poof comes up with a coloring page for you. So really cool, amazing options that fell short initially when I went in to test it last year. And now I went in today because I had a new release, a beta release of version 2. And I went in and I'm seeing this is my beautiful Brady. There it is with him looking in the bowl. I didn't do anything. Now I can save this off as an image, download PNG. So I would download the image and I would drop that right into Canva and throw it into my coloring book. Isn't that amazing? This is 8.5 by 8.5. If I'm doing an 8.5 by 11, it gives me place to put some words at the top or to title the page and do some really cool things. So not too bad as far as generation time. Let me upload another image here and see how well it's doing. Let's see, Delmar the Dinky and the Animal Circus. So we're going to throw that in here and generate. Let's see, Bigfoot. We had a Bigfoot one from Debbie. So here's Debbie's character. I'm going to say preserve faces. And you can play with this. You can have it remove background and do just the character instead of the full background. But in this case, that's already there. You can also have it upscale, taking a low resolution image and making it less blurry if you have the premium. So I'm going here and I'm going to generate now. So here's Delmar the Dinky. The thing that you shared has a little bit of extra space on one side and it has all of the words here. So it just took this and it converted it exactly the same. But again, you can bring this into Canva and have your square right there. Not a problem. There's the original image. And here's a slider to compare. You can kind of compare how that went from one to the next. So here's the original image and here's the coloring. And I think did we make sure that we had the whole thing here for him? The face. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that face, but that's really cute. And we could play around. I would probably put him on a background so that the full size of the background is there and it doesn't accidentally cut him off. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of cool. When I go to coloring book pages, there's a gallery here. So these people are using free. So it lets you look at it, see what they used, and download it for yourself or even remix it if you want. So yes, I would say if I was doing this for my own coloring books, I would definitely make sure to have a premium. If you're doing it just for kids to have fun, use the free version and have a blast with the little ones. Teach them how to generate their own coloring pages. They'll love it. Turn their own images into coloring pages. If you want to sign up using my link, that's great. That'll give me a little bit of credit, maybe even buy me a cup of coffee or a lunch. I think it's great. And I think if there's enough interest to do something like a coloring book workshop or something like that, and where we all work together and create some stuff, I'm happy to do that if there's enough interest in it.